Hey, what's up everybody? Landan with LMR.com. Got another good tech video for the S550 and S650 Mustangs. Today we're talking about wheel fitment again, off of a few of the comments from the 19 by 10.5 positive 24 millimeter offset front wheel video. A few of you mentioned, well, why not run a 19 by 11 square setup? Well, that's what we're doing today. We're gonna be talking about how to run a 19 by 11 wheel with a positive 50 millimeter offset on the front. The constant here is gonna be SVE wheels. I can't speak on behalf of other wheels. There's pretty much two ways you can do this. One is going to be a bolt-on spacer. In this case here, and the ones we sell at LMR.com, this is a 25 millimeter spacer and will kick the 19 by 11 positive 50 millimeter offset wheel out enough for it to work on the front of the car. So the second option would be to run extended studs with just a slip-on spacer versus the bolt-on style. Use these extended studs in your factory hub assemblies, you know, if they're still good. You'll disassemble your brake rotor, your caliper, pull your hub off, press your existing studs out and press these in. Or if you wanted to pay for convenience and kind of hit the easy button when it comes to extended studs, you can purchase the Ford Performance hub assembly kit with the extended studs. This kit provides new hub assembly retaining nuts, dust caps, and then the correct open-end lug nuts that have the conical taper to secure your wheel to the hub assembly. But today, we're gonna be talking about the 25 millimeter spacer on Mike Nichols' S550 car here. He actually just bought this car and did kind of a quick thrash on it to get it HPDE ready for some track events. He just got back from Hallett Motor Racing Circuit in Jennings, Oklahoma. Pretty simple car, drivetrain-wise all stock. He did the Ford Performance shock and strut with spring, and then he's running a 19 by 10.5 front wheel and a 19 by 11 DHP1 forged wheel. So today we're gonna show the 25 millimeter spacer, just because I feel like a lot of you, that's what you're going to run. I think you understand how studs work and how the hub assembly works. And I guess I probably forgot, the whole reason why you wanna be able to do this is so you can rotate all four of your wheels. You can go front to back, you can cross, you can do whatever. You know, you're not confined, you know, to your 10.5s up front, your 11s out back, or your 10s up front, and your 11s out back. Those of you wanting that wider wheel with a wider tire, the 19 by 11 square setup, you know, kind of is the chips all in way to do it. So we'll jump over here to Mike Nichols' S550 car. We'll talk about this 25 millimeter spacer, but it's real simple. If you have a car that has some corrosion and some crud here on the brake rotor flange, as well as the flange on the hub assembly, you're gonna wanna get all that nice and clean and then apply you a thin layer of anti-seize. This has a very, very tight fit because this is a hub-centric spacer. But what we'll do here is we'll get it in position, and you may kind of have to give it a little bit of push or lightly tap it, you know, with a dead blow or something like that to get it seated onto the brake rotor flange. And then whatever extra little gaps there, you know, you'll bring that in with the provided lug nuts. So once you get this on, you're gonna notice that the factory studs extend past the face of the spacer. Got our trusty little dial caliper here. I'm gonna see if I can get us a measurement. So the factory stud extends 5 millimeters, give or take, past the face of this spacer. So what you're gonna have to make note of on the wheel you're going to run, and again, our constant here is SVE wheels. All the SVE wheels will have this lug pocket on the back of the hub area. So you see the through holes here, that's where your studs go through. And then if you notice these recessed pockets into the wheel, this is to reduce a little bit of weight, but what probably they have found in engineering and in the aftermarket that folks do run spacers and things like that. So this will allow you to clear that stud that extends past the face of the hub. And if you wanted to get scientific with it, you could go get your caliper and you can measure the bore of this pocket or recess. So we're at 14 millimeters, give or take. So we've got plenty of room to work with. We verified our hub area on the wheel has the correct recess to clear the studs that extend past the face of the spacer. So now we're gonna use the provided lug nuts in the spacer kit to retain the spacer to the hub. Follow the instructions of whatever kit you're using. The kit we're using today from LMR.com, these are gonna torque to 30 foot-pounds, and they're gonna torque it to manufacturer's specification, which for this would be 150. 13, 16, doesn't really matter the orientation you run them down. It's just you want to follow the crisscross or star pattern whenever you go to torque. Now the easiest and safest method to torque the lug nuts securing the spacer will be to have a friend jump in the car and to press the brake pedal while you torque the lug nuts. We'll apply anti-seize now to the studs that are pressed into the spacer, and then we'll also apply anti-seize around the flange here on the spacer itself, as well as the face of it. So now we'll load up our 19x11. All right, so that goes on the way it should because we have that recessed bore in the hub area of the wheel. So now we can use the spline drive lug nuts to retain the wheel to the spacer. And these will torque to the factory spec of 150 foot-pounds. All right. Put a little extra hit on the impact just because we are gonna put weight on the wheel and tire so we can show y'all fender clearance with the Dark Horse camber plate kind of in the neutral or as far out as it will go, and then all the way in its most negative position as far as camber is concerned. Okay, so the way Mike Nichols has his camber plate set up already, since he just got back from the track, he has the Dark Horse camber plate all the way leaned over. This is a Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tire. Super Sport's very comparable in its tread profile as well as its sidewall design. So now we have full weight on the car, negative camber all the way over. It's gonna be approximately -3 degrees, maybe just a touch less. But you can see the fitment here with that 19x11 positive 50mm offset wheel and the 25mm spacer. Didn't show this before we lowered the car, but we'll show it when we get it back up in the air. We also had adequate strut clearance on the inside of the wheel and tire. So I'm gonna go back up with it. I'm gonna loosen up our nuts here that secure the Dark Horse camber plate to the strut mount on the car. And then I'm gonna pull it out to its, I call it the neutral setting. That's just its setting in the furthest direction out. I haven't taken a measurement as far as how much camber that is, but I would probably be willing to bet -1, -1.2, somewhere around that number. Real quick, you can jump in here. Oh, you won't be able to see it, but I mean, I can barely get my fingers behind there. On the body of the strut, the side wall of the tire. So we will break our camber plate retaining nuts loose, just enough so we can move the camber plate to its neutral position. All right, let's see if that's enough. And I can pull this out. It's a great thing about these camber plates, you're not changing anything else when you do that. You are just moving the camber, and that's why we like them and pretty much run them on just about any S550, S650 we have here at the shop, or employees that have track day cars. Okay, just got those snug down. We'll get the weight back on the suspension. Now, because of this sidewall profile and the camber plate all the way in the neutral position, the car is lowered. You still could find yourself with a little bit of interference on the edge here, the top edge of the tire and the inner part of the fender. But here in a moment, we're gonna mount up a SVE DHP1 wheel, 19x11 plus 50mm offset with a Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tire, 305/30/19, and you'll see the difference between the two tires. The Cup 2 kind of has an inward lean on its sidewall, and then it kind of just gradually rolls or tapers more into its tread pattern. All right, so we have our Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 305/30/19 mounted on another SVE wheel. This isn't a DHP1 forged wheel. This is a 19x11 MHP1. It's a flow formed wheel, a little bit different in the construction. So instead of the machined areas on the back of the hub area for the wheel, you kind of have these indentions in the casting. Because flow forming process, the base of the wheel is still cast, and then it goes into rollers, a lot amount of force, and they form the barrel of the wheel. So that's where you get the flow forming process or procedure. But these little indentions here in the hub area, the casting, that'll still allow clearance for the studs that extend past the face of the spacer. All right, so we got the SVE MHP1 loaded up with the Pilot Sport Cup 2 tire. We've got about the same amount of clearance between the backside of the tire and the body of the strut, it's tight, but we're there. And then like I said earlier, the recessed area on the hub area of the wheel allows for the extended stud to properly clear. So now we'll lower this down and we'll move our camber plate. Boy, this tire's sticky. Okay. So camber plate is still in its neutral position, what I'm calling it. You can see just by changing the design of the tire, how drastic of a difference there is. Again, Cup 2 has that kind of inward taper and kind of has that gradual transition into the tread pattern, contact area of the tire. Okay. All the way over. Retighten the nuts. Oh yeah, that looks tough. Crazy what a just difference in tire will do. The MHP1's looking good too, man. That's a coin flip between the DHP1 4s and the MHP1. Plenty of clearance there. I mean, you got a mile of clearance between the brake rotor and the backside of the wheel. Again, Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tire. I think we've covered all that. 25mm spacer. Well, technically, I should probably preface. That's a 1-inch spacer, so if you do the calculation, 25.4mm is what that spacer equals out to. Plus 50mm offset wheel. Again, our constant here are SVE wheels with plus 50mm offset 19x11. If you're doing this, you found this video, you're running another 19x11 wheel that may have a positive 52mm offset, something close to positive 50, you know, you're gonna have to play the calculation in your head as to what spacer you may need for your application. Because I will tell you this much, probably can't reach my hands back in there here now, the tire, the strut body clearance, it's tight. I mean, you're talking probably 3-4 millimeters. I think that's a wrap. I can't really think of anything else. Kind of straightforward. And again, anybody that's wanting to be able to rotate a complete setup, this is what you want on your S550 or S650. 19x11 plus 50mm offset, 305/30/19 tire, and then you gotta have some sort of camber plate to get that camber over and allow the suspension to work through its travel and geometry. That way you get the proper clearance here between the outside part of the tire and the inner part of the fender, which we actually corrected that on our 2024 S650 by installing the Dark Horse camber plates. We moved the camber over just enough to where it's still streetable to allow us to clear that 305/30/19 4S tire. There you go. Love the tech stuff. Get to nerd out over all this cool stuff. But we're gonna sign off. If you have any questions, of course, drop us a comment. We like chatting with you down there. Y'all know the deal. You find value in what we're doing, please consider liking the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. And then till we see you in the next one, for all things S550, S650, keep it right here at The Real Enthusiast, LMR.com.